This is the first thing I think of. This lighting makes my forehead wrinkles look awful. That's the first thing I think when I go into filming this. But you know what? I don't care. I'm not here for editing. We'll see how long this video lasts as this chunkamunka. Hi, Tinkaboy. Keeps trying to grab the stand, but I have thoughts that I have to get off my chest, and that's how all of this works. So, welcome back to Diaries of a Middle-Aged Mom. That's me, a middle-aged mom. And trying to navigate how the fuck my life works because I'm almost 40 and I have 4 kids and I've been divorced for 4 years and I'm starting all over. So today's thoughts. I've lived so much of my life in control, had to be in control. When you have the type of childhood that I had, which I think a lot of people in our generation had the same type of childhood, and now we're like, fuck, we gotta heal, we gotta heal these and break these generational curses or cycles or whatever the fuck it is. We have to create new cycles, right, for our kids. But you know, my childhood was based on chaos, and I had to be in control. I was my only form of stability. I was the only person that I could count on. I had I lived with my mom and my stepdad. I had 2 stepsisters who would stay with their mom and then come stay with us. So I was the only one consistently in the home until my brother was born when I was 11, which made it even harder because then I felt like at that point I had to control the situation and make it safe for him. Now, don't get me wrong. My childhood was rough. It wasn't like it could have been way worse, right? Like, I don't want to get stuck on that. But, you know, trauma is trauma nonetheless. I think we all come into this world with our own hard, and like what is hard for me could be easy for someone else, or, you know, we all have our own hard, whatever. Hold on, I gotta find a passy. We're back. So I was my only form of stability, and therefore I was very controlling. I had to be in control of everything. To me, everything was very black and white. A plus B equals C. Like, these were the rules. Like, this is how life goes, right? I had to control it, and that was it. And for a lot of my life, I think that was it, and I think it did work for me. I also, now looking back, know that I was stuck in a constant state of fight or flight, and nervous system regulation has been a big thing for me over the past 3 years. But I got married when I was 27, immediately had my first baby, then had babies 2 and 3, got divorced when I was 35, so, no, I was 20. Hold on, 25 or 26. Anyways, whatever, I don't know. So for about a 9-year span, everything was like this in my life, right? I worked at the same hair salon for 10 years. Everything was here. And for me, that's what I thought I needed. That's what I thought I wanted. I was in control. It was very stable. To me, this was better than this, right? But I also didn't understand at that time, this was also me living a very non-emotional life. I wasn't very happy. I wasn't horribly sad, probably depressed at times. I took Zoloft, antidepressants, Lexapro, you know, off and on those years. Drank a little bit off and on, you know. I don't think I was ever an alcoholic, but definitely I looked forward to my wine on the weekends or whatever. When I did get upset, it was a full-on rage. Like, looking back, I really do feel awful for my children when they were little because I would rage. On top of that was birth control, which now I know that was a huge part of my rage and my postpartum rage. But I thought I was in control, right? And this was my life. I would say like things like, oh, I just hate change, and because I wanted to, you know, control and continue to live this life. So when I was 35, I realized how unhappy I really was. my mom start to get it. She was starting her divorce with my stepdad, and it was an awful. Their marriage was whatever, awful. And it just made me realize, like, I don't want to repeat this cycle. I don't want to live in a home or in a marriage that is just, it's just mediocre. Like, to me, this was better than what I grew up with. But I didn't realize, even if you're living a life of this, there is a lot of beauty in this, right? If you know how to ride the roller coaster, if you know how to regulate your emotions, if you can see and understand the lessons that are coming from this and learn from them, this can be beautiful. About 3-ish years ago, I came across a podcast. I'll tell you the name of the podcast because I still love this woman and I listened to her and I learned a lot from her. Catherine Zenkina, Manifestation Babe is her handle on all social medias. And I came across one of her podcasts and she was talking about a newer therapy called Rapid Resolution Therapy. And it is where a therapist can essentially tap into your subconscious mind and fix or rewire anything that is troubling you or triggering you. And I was like, oh, yep, this is the fix. You know, again, everything was very black and white to me. Like, oh, I need to do this. Like, this will fix all of my problems. And as I continued to listen to her podcast and learn more and more, I really became awakened. And I kind of became introduced to the spiritual world and the spiritual journey and all of like this new age, I think it's coined new age ideas. And a lot of it is science-based, but that's going into something else. And so I thought within the first like 6 months or year I took a course that she had. I thought I had it all figured out and this was the answer and I was going to manifest a whole new life. And I was still trying to fucking control everything. And it wasn't until I got pregnant with this stinker-pot, who's not letting me do this. I was 16 weeks pregnant with him and my water broke. And I was told that my body was going to miscarry. So for about 2 weeks, I mourned that miscarry. And then I realized I'm mourning something that hasn't even happened. So it took me down this whole journey for the past 1.5 years where I now realize this was my was my lesson on letting go of control. I had no control on what was going to happen to him. He was in my belly. I had no control. Okay, so here's where I feel like you also have a lot of control in the power of sitting in your situation, because the only true thing you can control in life is your mind and your thoughts. And it is very real when people say things like mind over matter. It's not just like a silly phrase. Matter, all matter, this, him, me, you, this house, all matter is energy, right? Everything in the 3D is made of energy. Again, that's quantum physics. Like there's no arguing that. And when you stop trying to control your outside reality, you stop trying to control other people, other situations, other things, when you stop trying to control the matter and you start trying to control the mind in an ever so nice way, like this isn't, I don't know, controlling of the mind sounds like a weird evil thing, but when you start to control what's going on in here, you can literally manifest your reality. You can create everything in life, right? I created this little stinker pot using mind over matter. Now, with that being said, I don't want to take away from the power of God, right? To me, God, universe, source is all the same thing. I believe we are made in the image of God. We are a small piece of God, and we are more powerful than we allow ourselves to be, than we even fucking realize we are. And I think a lot of people use the saying, let go, let God, as an excuse because they also don't know how powerful they are. But you're not going to control anybody else, right? You can't manifest for anybody else. The only thing you can do is control your thoughts, your emotions. There's a lot of power in sitting in this moment, right? They're in sitting in the change, and sitting in the chaos, and sitting in the not knowing of what's gonna happen. Like letting go of that attachment and letting go of the control. Also, you know, a lot of people talk about detachment. This is all the same thing. There's so much power in it, and he is my literal lesson from God. Like, I could have easily terminated this pregnancy, right? I could have stayed in control, what I thought was in control of the situation. Doctors were giving me every out of this pregnancy at 16 weeks. But I had this like inner knowing. I've always been, I think, clairvoyant. Wait. Claire, I don't know which Claire it is. I just have a knowing, right? I've always had like an inner knowing of things, my intuition, I guess. And I never really understood it or knew much about it. Once I've learned to tap into it more, I think it's been a lot stronger. You know, it was another crazy thing when I was pregnant with him in the very beginning, before my water broke. I got a download from God saying your intuition's going to be very strong this pregnancy. And it was insane. I could tell numerous stories on... Oh, he's so bored. Hold on. Okay, final thought, because Brooks wants his bottle and I could rant on forever. I like to keep my videos short. Letting go of control has been a huge hurdle for me to get over the past couple years. And I'm such a firm believer. If you look at what's going on in your life, you are given lots of lessons, right? And if you don't learn from these lessons, God will fucking throw a boulder at your ass and say, hello, Miss Ma'am, figure it out. Because there are so many good things in this world coming your way once you can learn to trust the universe and trust God. So happy manifesting.